A Journey to Accessibility. Butler Gallery commissioned Arts and Disability Ireland to audio describe 160 artworks of their permanent collection for audiences who are blind or visually impaired. Logos: Arts and Disability Ireland, Butler Gallery, the Arts Council. Shots of the Butler Gallery artworks are shown around Kilkenny, from classical landscapes to contemporary sculpture. Art handlers arrive at Kilkenny Castle.
My name is Anna O'Sullivan and I'm the Director and the Curator of Exhibitions at the Butler Gallery in Kilkenny. The Butler Gallery has been in Kilkenny Castle since 1976. It was founded in 1943 by a group of local artists and art lovers, and it was important for those people to begin to develop a collection for Kilkenny, for the people of Kilkenny. So the collection is something that we are very proud of, and it's been very important for us to safeguard that collection for the future. But because there isn't a space available for us to show our permanent collection, Kilkenny County Council have essentially given us Evans Home as the venue for our new museum.
My name is Barbara Ann Harkin and I'm the Education Curator at Butler Gallery. We have this fantastic permanent collection at Butler Gallery, and this should be something that is audio described as well, so that people can access this perhaps in advance of our move to our new home, but also certainly that we would always have work that's accessible on view once we move into our new home and have permanent collection galleries.
The art handlers carry large paintings in from their van, unfurling layers of bubble wrap.
So we began thinking then about how we would fund this type of project and how this kind of project would be manageable. And that's really where ADI's influence was fantastic, and the collaboration really showed its strength, I think, at that point, because we needed the guidance of ADI in figuring out how we were going to manage this kind of a project, and this size of a project as well.
The camera catches a glimpse over the describer's shoulder as she briskly makes copious notes in her blue notebook.
I'm Pádraig Naughton, Executive Director of Arts and Disability Ireland.
Pádraig delivers a public address, an ISL interpreter by his side. Captions are displayed for a lively theatre performance. The audience watches intently, laughing to each other.
Arts and Disability Ireland is the National Resource and Development Organisation for Arts and Disability in the Republic of Ireland, and we describe ourselves as an organisation that champions the creativity of artists with disabilities and promotes inclusive experiences for audiences, and all of that we do in partnership with the arts and cultural sector in Ireland. Audio description provides the visitor with a verbal description of the art objects in an exhibition. So it's really about trying to be the eyes for somebody who can't see, or maybe can't see all of the exhibit.
We've been really lucky to have Breed Ní Chrúgáin, the trained audio describer that Arts and Disability Ireland work with, come down to Kilkenny and work with us on site. And that's essential really, because it's not enough to see the works in an image. Really, in order to give a true audio description for somebody who's blind or visually impaired, or an audio description that anyone might use, it has to be true to the texture of the work, to the real intricacies of colour and light and shade and all of these things that make each artwork unique in their own way.
I'm Breed Ní Chrúgáin and I'm the audio describer working on this project with the Butler Gallery. If I can't straight away think of how to describe something, some of the works are very abstract, and it's just a matter of time really, trying to look at it and think about whether there's movement or a mood or some into describing what it is, so that you don't have to be too literal and say, you know, it's a series of lines or it's a colour, to try and give it a little bit more meaning without interpreting. And that's the very fine line for me. Others, you look at them and straight away the way to describe them pops into your head and you start scribbling frantically. Those are good works to have.
So that's quite a time-consuming part of the process, but one that's really essential for the next stage of the process, which is then when Breed begins to write up the audio description of the works. And she and I have collaborated a little bit during this project. Two heads can definitely be better than one, you know, in identifying whether the way in which you're describing something is easily understood by another person who may not have all of the same references as you. It's good to be able to check one another on that. And then we move to the recording, of course, of the audio description.
A studio in a van, the logo trans sound on its side, buttons, faders and switches.
When thinking about how we would deliver the audio descriptions for our permanent collection, we really wanted to come up with something polished, extremely professional, and so we have recorded these audio descriptions with Steve McGrath in a proper sound booth where we have really consistent sound, and it's raised our game a little bit, which we're pleased about. Technology may change and the methods of delivering the audio descriptions to a variety of audiences in the future might change. We may decide that we want to do it by app or via another piece of technology, but it was important for this reason that the recordings be really professional. So it's been great to work with Steve McGrath on this and have a professional editing ear in the booth.
Barbara Ann sits in the soundproof booth reading a description. The artwork appears on screen.
Caledonia by Albert Irvin. This huge work is over 3 meters wide, painted in bright acrylics. 3 thick bands of colour are painted diagonally, falling from right to left, in green, blue and maroon. Behind them are thinner horizontal bands of white. Across the centre of the work is a thick line of bright orange paint with a white line below it. They sit on top of 3 round shapes in yellow, orangey red and deep red. The paint is used in a variety of ways. It is applied so thickly in places that it runs in various directions as though the work had been tilted as it dried. Paint is pulled and worked vigorously until it streaks thinly or is built up in thick layers that crack on the surface. The array of textures is as varied as the colour palette.
Another bright modern painting is carried into the describer's room.
It's really important for us at the Butler Gallery to be forward-thinking in our approach to accessibility to the arts for all. This grant from the Department of Arts has allowed us to audio describe 160 works in the collection.
Moving forward into the future, as Butler Gallery moves into its new home, access is a huge part of that, and we really want to make sure that we're building it in before that move happens, and this will be accessible for people to use, we hope, as soon as those doors open. It was really good to have those open working relationships with ADI and with Breed Ní Rúgan, our audio describer. We hope to continue to audio describe at least one temporary exhibition every year. I see this as part of our programme now, and it's our responsibility to keep this going, and we really intend to do so. So this is a collaboration that will hopefully continue into the future.
This film featured artworks in the Butler Gallery's permanent collection by Albert Irvin, Barry Cook, Brian Burke, David Nash, Donald Teskey RHA, Francis Tansey, George Russell AE, Grace Henry, Gypsy Ray, Janet Mullarney, Joe Hanley, John Kindness, Michael Byrne, Patrick Collins, Patrick Scott, Paul Doran, Paul Sandby, Ralph Cusick, Richard Moss, Robert Balla, Rosaline Davey and Stephen Lawler. Audio description of 160 artworks of the Butler Gallery's permanent collection was funded by the Department of Culture, Heritage and the Gaeltacht. Logos: Arts and Disability Ireland, Butler Gallery, the Arts Council. Logo: www.arcade.film.